But yeah, I mean, this is the evolution of computers. Eventually, probably all of the equipment's going to have all this stuff in it. So it's just going to show up and be there. And then when you do need it, it will be there. But for most people, they don't need all this stuff. And most of the computers are fairly similar with each other. And it comes down to what do you like? You know, what computer, what form factor makes sense to you? What looks the best to you? What, you know, does it sleek and innovative, or do you know, we've told the story about, several years back we had Chris showed up at a client with a really thick computer and, was panicking about trying to plug his computer into the wall because it, the battery was going to go dead. I mean, and then somebody was tripping on the cable as the clients go by. It's like, it's embarrassing. It's like your computer reflects who you are. It's like people, the way they dress or their shoes or like things like that. It's just like, it's about who you are and about whether you're investing in yourself or investing in your employees, whether you want computers. Our auditors were here just recently, right? Our financial auditors, same thing. Their computers look old. They look like they were 5 years old. And it's sort of like embarrassing. You look at them and you're like, I mean, they're saving money probably, right? You could argue that maybe they're not because there's security issues with older devices, right? Sure. But it's a reflection on how they operate their business. It's like, are they cutting corners? Are they saving costs where maybe they shouldn't? I mean, maybe they should be having all the latest technology, but then maybe, well, that's what I'm spending money on. I mean, it's a balance of finding what's the best for you and your company. But I tend to see that technology drives innovation. Technology creates people to inspire them to be more creative and to work in new ways. And so if you want that for your business, then choose these type of devices.
And there's multiples. I mean, just like if you look at everything that's on the table right now, you have, on-the-go demo units for sales. You have a majority of us are using this because of the footprint it takes up with our screens. You have that one, which, the executives and management like because it's typical to a laptop. Then you have the one on the end, which is for the development department and the video guys because it has the good GPU. Specs on it. Yeah, the GPU on it. They have everything for everyone.
There's a computer for everyone.
Yeah.
You can get into the details, and there's a flavor that's for you, but you don't have to go way down in the weeds to figure them all out.
No. I like it.
What I find hysterical is when people want us to send them computers so they can give it a test drive for like a month. I'm like, it's a computer.
Yeah.
Like, what are you testing?
It's not new. It's not new technology.
Right.
It's Windows.
Well, some people want to touch and feel, and it's like a test drive with a car. You want to get in, smell the leather, and see what it's about.
It's just interesting how, because you bring up a good point. A to Z. That culture is kind of like a thing now where it didn't used to be. I mean, when we ordered those Dells, did we have 5 of them shipped here to make sure that it worked with our company? No, we just bought them and they showed up.
Yeah,
and we did what we needed to do.
It's like the Surface Hub. It's the same thing. I mean, it's a fairly high ticket item. It's a $10,000 whiteboard Teams device, and people buy that without seeing it in person. I mean, they sort of have to. If you want it, that's sort of how you have to buy it because there was a long list to get in line to purchase one, right?
Yeah, or there's a brick and mortar store that you'd have to go to just look at it, and it's not like you're testing it in your environment.
If you go to even in the Microsoft stores, they don't have that device because they can't get it. I mean, it's hard to get. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of these, especially these new ones too. Some of these devices are really hard to get. So because they're in such high demand.
I know the X's were having an issue. Right,
I mean, when they first came out, they were really hard to get them because they were just such in high demand. They did more than they expected. And
then we always get the units and never the keyboards. The keyboards are always so shorthanded. Right when they first come out, like day after release, the keyboards are gone.
I mean, Microsoft has, in my experience, they're still a teenager when it comes to distribution, and they'll tell you this too. It's like they're growing up, they're learning. It's a fairly, in the big scheme of things, they're less than 5% of the overall market size. So they're not like the big player like some of these other manufacturers would be, but they are. If you want innovation, you want software and hardware to keep up with itself. Like Microsoft is the cloud. That's probably what most companies are using. If you want a device that's going to be in harmony with hardware and software, then a Surface is a go-to that's just going to work.
That's an interesting concept that if we apply that to something else, like we use Adobe Premiere Pro, or we use the Adobe Cloud
the suite, right,
for editing videos. But if Adobe made a computer and it said, hey, look, all those problems that you have with all those other computers, that doesn't matter. We made this specifically to work
Everything's
with
built
Adobe.
in. Everything's built in.
Hey, if Adobe made a computer, I would expect it to probably have the best graphics card in the computer. Wouldn't you expect that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Zero
That's what we're
chance of a
talking about
glitch.
here. Is like Microsoft has designed a computer and they've innovated with computers in places that other manufacturers have never thought about.